So before I get started on the main topic, I just have to talk about how crazy excited I am to be able to say that officially I will be going to the Retro Gaming Expo this year. That happens in Portland, Oregon, from October 21st to the 23rd, I believe. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So in just under a month's time, I will be attending that for the full weekend. Really excited. I mentioned this on Twitter. If you happen to be in the area, if you happen to already be attending the Retro Gaming Expo, you'll probably see me walking around, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to meet my idol and my hero, the legendary angry video game nerd. James Rolfe is going to be there, which is the number one reason I was like, yep, definitely going if that's the case. Also, Pat the NES Punk, who I really, really love, and his co-host for the podcast that they do, Ian. Those are the main reasons I'm going. I'm going to check out some panels, probably blow a bunch of money on some old school games. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm obviously not big enough of a YouTuber to be at a panel and hosting my own panel or a part of a panel. Maybe in the next couple of years, if I keep the channel going and people really keep jumping on board, I could do something like that. But right now, that's not the plan. I'm just going for fun and to meet a couple people. But like I said, I will be there. If you're in the area, you definitely should go too. Like I said, you might just see me walking around, and I think that that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so the real topic today is discussing the immediate future of gaming. And when I say the immediate future, I basically mean what is next year as of this recording, next year being 2017. And I want to discuss if 2017 has the possibility to be a banner year for gaming. And by banner year, I of course also mean a great year, a legendary year, a year that will be remembered for all time. Believe it or not, despite the fact that it's the subject of this video, no, I don't think it's actually going to be a banner year. And you might wonder, well, why would you even make a video if you're not going to say, yes, it's going to be a banner year? And it's because I still think it could very possibly be a great year. And if anything, I think it will still be remembered for a couple of key things. Most notably, of course, that we know Nintendo is going to be releasing their next generation machine next year. But also, Microsoft is releasing another version of their machine, whether it's considered next gen, whether it's truly like the successor to the Xbox One, or whether it is just an upgraded iteration of the Xbox One. We don't quite yet know. It could be any one of those things. So we have two new pieces of hardware coming from two of the three major console developers. We have to look at the fact that the PS4 Pro, which comes out in November, like mid or late November, in just a couple of months, by the time we actually hit January 1st, 2017, that's only going to be 5 or 6 weeks old. So that will effectively be brand new as of that time and throughout pretty much the entire year of 2017. So it's going to be the year of new technology, new hardware. It's going to be the first time ever where we've seen a true kind of upgraded version of current generation hardware at that time. It's, as we've said so many times, it's an iteration, it's iterative design for the PlayStation and Xbox. So that's all going to be very new to people, and the industry is going to be kind of feeling that out. And the gamer, the consumer, is going to be kind of feeling that out as well. But it's also the games. It's the titles and the software and the actual library releasing throughout 2017, and that's going to be played throughout 2017 that I think is the real focus. So of course that topic is also fairly difficult to discuss because we don't really know all of the games that are coming out next year. We don't even know most of the games, so that's kind of what's really tricky. But it's because of the factors I was just talking about. We're getting all this new hardware, including one confirmed next generation piece of hardware from Nintendo. Again, the Xbox Scorpio might turn into that, but as of right now, we don't really know. So only Nintendo is actually making that next step to their next evolution. And through that, we're probably bound to get a couple of great games. 2016, has been a weird year. I love this year in gaming. I've played some of my absolute favorite games of the entire generation this year. And I don't want to tell you what they are because it would spoil my top 10 of the year list when I actually do that. But there's been some great games so far, and there's a couple of great ones coming out. But for the most part, still, it kind of feels like 2016 isn't the fully realized version of it isn't the fully realized year of releases that we maybe would have wanted. If Nintendo was releasing regular content and, full versions of their versions of their games, it might be a different story, but we have one of the three major players barely releasing anything, and then we have not a lot of exclusive content from Microsoft or Sony, and only a few games that really count. By the time we hit 2017, we will have already had the new Uncharted game. We will have already had a new Gears of War game, and so that's two exclusives for Sony and Microsoft already done. Nintendo, they did Star Fox Zero, Tokyo Mirage, Pokken, and we'll have Paper Mario. And I don't think Paper Mario is going to make a big splash, if you know what I mean. Unfortunately, I'm excited to give it a shot, but I just don't think it's going to make a big impact, unfortunately. So I mean, those few games are going to be out. We're already going to have Final Fantasy 15 out. Sony's going to have The Last Guardian out, a game that we thought until a couple years ago we would never ever see again. So, these few exclusives, and then plus Final Fantasy 15, a game that we've been waiting for 15 years pretty much, these games are going to have been released and out into the wild and no longer something for us to look forward to. So what is it that we could look forward to in 2017? Well, here's the reason why it is, going back to why it still could actually be exciting. Because Nintendo's going to be releasing the NX, we also know that we're getting a brand new Legend of Zelda. That's a huge deal. That is always a banner moment for gaming whenever the new, true, next generation, next version sequel to that franchise releases. It's a big deal. And right now, the hype for Breath of the Wild and what Nintendo showed us has us all tingling with excitement. Literally, I tingle when I think about how excited I am for that game, and I know most of you out there do too. Most Nintendo and most Zelda fans feel that way. That game is going to be massive. It's going to be a huge success. It's going to sell very well, whether it's Wii U versions or NX versions or whatever happens. That's going to be a big deal. So we already know we have a brand new Zelda to look forward to. Staying on Nintendo, we could see a situation where they don't have a lot to release within that first year. But I don't really think that's going to happen. They've given us nothing but reasons to think that part of the reason that the NX is being released in the time frame it is, March 2017, which I think may still change, but if it sticks to that, they've given us nothing but reasons to think that it's so they could have a lot of software ready to go, which means we might see a new Mario, and we might see, some people think, even like a new Splatoon game. We might see that Metroid game that we've been waiting for. We might get Pikmin 4 if that's truly what's still being made. We could get various other new things. Maybe Retro is making a brand new IP game. Maybe we get that. We could get so many things from Nintendo that really flesh out the year that all of a sudden 2017 will be looked back as a year where Nintendo released new hardware and had 5 or 6 awesome games. Zelda came back, triumphantly, and Nintendo released Zelda, and then they released Metroid, and then they released Mario, and then they released Splatoon, and then they released a new IP. And that'll be huge just when you look at it from the point of Nintendo. Sony and Microsoft is a little bit trickier. What could we get from the PlayStation or the Xbox throughout 2017? I mean, maybe we end up getting like a Halo. Maybe we finally get Halo 6. I know that Halo 5 just came out last year, now about a year ago from now. But if we also get Halo 6, the sequel to that game, the end of 2017, that's a 2-year gap. That's not really typical Halo fashion, but maybe Microsoft has been working to make that game ready in 343 Industries, so we could see that. I don't know what Sony could bring. Probably Naughty Dog's next game. I think that could be very exciting. If Sony and Microsoft both have a couple of exclusives lined up to really knock it out of the park next year, Microsoft, we of course know, has Platinum Games' new game, Scalebound. That's set right now for next year. Hopefully that shit actually comes out, because I really want to play that game and hope that it's actually good. I think it looks great. Some people don't, but I'm actually very excited. If Sony and Microsoft can come with some exclusives, and if Nintendo really does have a lineup to flesh out that first year of the NX's release, we could be in for a great year. But because it's so hard for me to theorize and speculate on what else is available for all of the manufacturers, it's hard for me to say that it's going to be a banner year. So that's why I wanted to just quickly discuss 2017 for you guys now, several months beforehand, when we know very little about 2017, is it could go great. Nintendo could release their new machine and have 6 or 7 awesome games throughout 2017, which makes it super memorable. Microsoft might release Halo 6, Scalebound could be great, and maybe they have a couple of other surprises that absolutely blow us away. Sony might have a couple sequels that we don't know to maybe expect. They might have Naughty Dog's new game. Maybe it's Last of Us 2. Maybe it's a new IP. That could be really exciting. So 2017 could turn out really great. Or the NX might launch. Zelda's fantastic, but we don't really get any other great games from Nintendo in that first year. And maybe Microsoft doesn't have anything ready for next year. Maybe Halo 6 isn't going to be ready, and they released a Scorpio to almost nothing brand new, and that almost becomes a dud or falls flat on its face before 2017 ends, I should say. And maybe Sony still can't find a way to make the PS4 Pro worthwhile. I shouldn't leave out Horizon. I'm glad I remember that. Horizon Zero Dawn is a huge boon that Sony has in its pocket, not only as a game releasing exclusively for its console, but as something that could really help sell people on the PS4 Pro. So that could make the PS4 Pro a huge hit in the first first half of 2017. But maybe those things don't really land the way Sony intends them to. Maybe Horizon's just okay. Maybe the PS4 Pro, like I was saying, Sony doesn't know what to do with it, so it doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't really convince people 4K makes sense. It doesn't convince people that the PS4 is something you should still be interested in, and people stop buying it in mass numbers. Maybe Nintendo and Microsoft have a reason to start catching up to Sony. And all of these things happening might prove 2017 to be kind of a dud, and I think that would be a shame. Ultimately, I really don't think that 2017 is going to be a dud. I think it's going to end up turning out okay. I think all three companies are going to end up having some exciting things for us to look forward to next year, despite the fact that, Final Fantasy will already be out, Gears of War is going to be done, Uncharted 4 and Star Fox and all these games. We had the sequels come out this year, so what other sequels could we look forward to 2017? I still think that the industry is going to find a way to make it exciting. But I don't think it's going to be the banner year that we all want to be able to remember it for. So I don't think that they're going to be able to knock it out of the park the way they could. And I think that's a shame because 2016 is proving to be so middling and so just mediocre that you would think the industry has more ready to go to make up for it the following year, 2017. But this 2017, it just doesn't feel like it's going to be that. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. This was just a random topic I wanted to throw out to you guys, discuss some games and discuss the industry a little bit. As a whole, do you think the inclusion of new hardware from Nintendo and Microsoft next year is going to make 2017 a fantastic year? Do you think Nintendo is going to bring it with solid software throughout the launch like they've hinted at, or do you think maybe they really don't have these things ready? Maybe we won't see a Bayonetta 3 like we want, things like that. Do you think that the PS4 Pro is going to take off, Horizon's going to be great, and Sony's going to have a great year? Or do you think that maybe they're going to fall, I don't want to say fall flat, but they're going to just kind of plateau and have nothing really exciting throughout the year? And how do you think that's going to flesh out the entirety of 2017? Will 2017 be remembered as a banner year, or will 2017 be completely forgotten? I don't know yet, but it's going to be really interesting to see. It'll depend on what Nintendo's doing. It'll depend on what Microsoft is doing. We know Zelda's going to be great, but that's pretty much all we have right now to count on. So tell me what you guys think about all this stuff below. Thanks, of course, for tuning in. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review. If you make it to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, maybe I'll see you, maybe I won't, and I'll catch you guys next time on another video.